Welcome back to another video on Gearsaw Studios, and today I'm going to show you how to build a gift/present house. So that way you can have a nice festive house where the exterior stuff is minimal while the interior can be nice and cozy. However, before I begin, remember, please like and subscribe. It really helps me out. So with that, onto the palette, which we're going to be using a lot of red concrete with some red wool to provide texturing on some of the tears so that way we can have windows, some lime with concrete to be just a ribbon wraparound thing, and for the interior we're going to be using spruce and birch planks, dark oak strip logs, spruce strip logs, and dark oak planks for furniture. Then you need a decently flat area where you want to start making an outline of a rectangle or square for your place. And you need to make it one block wider on all dimensions than you want the actual house to be, because we need to have the outer layer. So pretend this is the outer layer right here, but on the inside we're going to be using a different palette, kind of like this. So you need to make it thicker, well, wider and just larger in general than you actually want it to be on the inside. So I got my little base plate here, and what we want to do is start stacking up. But before you do that, you want to figure out how many floors you want. 2 or 3 floors is good, and in order to measure, this is going to be ground layer, and each floor should be 6 blocks tall because the 4 here are going to be the main room, then another block here because that's a ceiling, and then another 4. And once you make your awkward looking E, then you can determine how tall you want it. This would be 2 floors, so I'm going to make it 3. And that means double layering each floor, but you don't have to double layer the ceiling. And this seems acceptable height, so start building up. We have a red box now, and what we want to do is create the lid. And the lid should just be a little bit of a protrusion like this, and it can be 1 or 2 blocks, but the important thing is you want it to loop around. And on top you might want to make it 2 blocks thick. And just make it loop around and you'll have a slightly more detailed red box. With this red box now having more detail, it's time to add the actual wrapping thing that keeps it from just having the lid fly off. What we want to do is calculate the middle, place 5 blocks on either side, and then just slowly place more and more blocks until you get to the middle. We can see we have a 6 block middle, and you can experiment. You could do 4 or 6 or just whatever measurement. I'm going to try 6, and you want this to wrap around. So you have it go like this, back up into the middle, and go back down the other side. So it's really quite simple. We have a gift box now, and it's looking pretty decent. On the corners where it wraps around, I removed 4 blocks on the little corner pieces, and it just adds a little bit more texturing on a pretty bland thing. It's not that bad looking, but it's really just not too interesting. And in order to make it interesting, we need to make the interior first. So, break up part of the wall. Have night vision because mobile users actually just cannot see, which was one of the reasons why I remade this video. And we want to have birch floors. We can see on here where our floors are going to be, and every time you see the top half of these 2 notches, then you place birch. However, remember that the walls are double thick, which means that, of course, we're going to have to make changes, and why this place is going to be a little bit smaller. But first off, just make the birch planks 4. With birch floors, we need to get the walls before we can get the majority of this place done quite easily. And the wall design is going to be the bottom having stripped spruce logs as trim, with dark oak stripped logs being just little dividers. and this might be a little difficult. The interior space is 19 blocks, and we need to just make a fine line of where we're going to just establish these little posts right here. So just start placing down your spruce stripped logs, and try just dividing them up in a way that's just equal. Every 3 blocks would be good, although you can see in the middle that doesn't necessarily work. And there's a variety of solutions to this, but of course we could just have 2 segments like this and a wide segment in the middle, or we could just divide up the walls and make rooms on the side so that way we can avoid the issue entirely. With the wall design figured out, you now just want to extend it upward. And I'm just going to use this segment as an example. We go up with the columns, place down spruce planks, and we can potentially place a window. If you want a window on a certain wall, then make a tear on the outside, and on that tear, include some red wool on the edges. Not all of the edge, but on parts of it. So that way it looks like it's more crumpled, because wrapping paper often crumples when you're ripping it open. And kind of like that. And we got some crumples and a place to have a window. So it's as if this house is a literal gift, and someone just decided to live in it despite it never being unwrapped. And once you have all the walls ready, you just go up, fill these layers with just a filler block that you don't need, like cobblestone or more spruce planks, and you continue going upward with your wall design. For the very top, just spruce planks along the top. We have a room of walls now, and 4 spires in the middle. You can see that these spires correspond to these little spires on the sides to support beams, and these will house a spiral staircase. In the middle, we go up a little, 1 half slab at a time. Well, a half slab is 1/4 of a block, but you get the idea. Make sure that you have your spiral staircase going up. It's up to you if you want corners. And in order to make our different floors, we have the demarcation trim here. We place the birch planks here, and then the spruce planks on the bottom. Have that around, and then we'll have clearly defined floors. We got this spiral staircase in here, with our little dividers with accents of waxed cut copper. And now we actually have a cohesive place where we can actually do things. And what we want to do in here is just put in our utilities. The 3rd floor will not have any windows except maybe on one side, because it's dedicated to storage. Due to the amount of living space you have in this, you actually do have enough to turn this into a mid-game base. So if you're growing out of your starter house, then perhaps this is the next step up. So get your chests in and your utilities. We have utilities in here, and we now have a very nice house. So we have our chests. We have obligatory Endermite composter where they're all named Jetstream Sam, which is a very nice character. And sealing that up, we have this lower floor where we have the bed, some jukebox, anvils, tables, and a good enchanting setup, which I went through many iterations of. But it certainly does get you to level 30. Some barrels to get you lapis, so that way you don't have to constantly go around. And down here we have a nice carpet, where we have netherwork growing, a map, some utilities, just furnaces and such, and outside we have our windows. So, in total, we have a really nice mid-game house that has all of your utilities inside of it, so that way you don't need any separate buildings. So, if you're wondering what to do and feeling rather festive, then I'd highly recommend using this. Also, just a small detail that I experimented with, you can add a bow to the top of the present. And it's really just a lump with some yellow concrete coming off of it, but it really does add to the build. So, it might not look the best, you can remove it if you want, but I'm going to keep it. And with that, it's the end of today's video. If you enjoyed this video, remember, please like and subscribe, it really helps me out. So, take care, enjoy your new house, Gearsaw out.